Hi, can you hear me? This is Gabriel. I'm broadcasting from Malaysia, Kuching, or even Syrian, Malaysia. I'm an independent education business consultant, mainly working with UK universities. I think the pandemic has actually affected a lot of students. Recently, I received phone calls from students and parents, even from agents, wondering, should I go to UK in this September, or should I defer? I have even heard comments from students and parents saying that they want to defer to next year intake. They don't mind to wait because health and safety is most important. That's why I was wondering, thinking that I have been contacting a few students who are back from the UK. And this round, I want to hear from someone who is speaking directly from the UK. And of course, two-person. One is my best friend, who worked with me for a long, long time. Where I'm going to put her on screen now, Cecilia.
Hi.
Yeah, and then the other person. And the other person is Sharon. Sharon is a student of Northumbria University, Newcastle. She's actually lives from Newcastle. Hi, Sharon and Cecilia. Can you please maybe share a little bit about yourself first, just for our audience to know who you are and where you are from now? Cecilia first.
Yeah. Okay. So hello, everybody. My name is Cecilia, and I am originally from Malaysia, but I have been living in the UK now for 26 years. That gives away my age a little bit. No, I'm not 26. I'm double that. I run my own education consultancy company. I support universities with their international student recruitment and partnership work in Southeast Asia. So I work very closely and support agents in country. I speak to parents. I work with universities and schools in Southeast Asia as well. So yeah, I'm like the bridge between Southeast Asia and the UK.
And how about Sharon?
Hi, I'm Sharon. So I am from Malaysia, yes, from KL. So I'm currently staying at Newcastle. I just finished my undergraduate degree at Northumbria University in nutrition, and now I'm just waiting for my results. Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Yep. Okay, just a little bit notes for all the viewer first. If you have any questions, you can just type on this live chat column, the comment part, and we can read it. And then this session is not going to be a formal session. We do not represent any universities or whatever. It is just my personal initiative, and I just want to, get my friend to share with students and parents, as many of us are a bit concerned about, the safety in the UK. So I think the true we want to tell students and parents what is in the UK, right? So first, my first question that I want to ask is actually to Sharon. Sharon, when it started, maybe when does it started with this lockdown or pandemic in the UK, and what were you feeling at the time? What were you thinking and feeling at the time?
So I think the news about this whole virus started breaking out in, I want to say January. They were starting to have talks about it, right? And I think like everybody else, we didn't think it would get this serious. So in March, when they started to announce, it was when like shops or like the university started closing down, or they started to cancel classes because of this whole thing. That's when I began to think like, oh, okay, this is actually like a really serious problem. And yeah, so ever since then lockdown happened, but then now they're starting to ease lockdown, which is good. But yeah.
Yep. So were you nervous, or were you a bit concerned, Sharon? Or did your parents immediately call you and would you want to come back and all this?
How did I feel about it? I think I I didn't want to think too much about it. Although, sometimes like if you have this like cough or like a slight flu, you start to think, oh no, did I have it kind of question. Yeah. But I just, as long as you follow the guidelines or you're just careful, you shouldn't worry too much. So I wasn't that worried. As for my parents, news spread through WhatsApp or whatever about all these like weird facts about the virus and stuff. But I do keep in contact with them often just to like reassure them. They do ask me often if I want to go back to Malaysia, but I said no because I felt like it would be better for me to finish my degree whilst I was here. Yeah. So ultimately, was I worried? Not really. Maybe slightly concerned. Yes, but I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say I was
So you don't
fully
need to
like,
attend classes in so you don't so you don't need to go to the campus or the university. You were just learning online at home in that sense.
Yes, because things at university started closing down. They started
Yeah.
canceling classes, they started closing the library, closing everything, so you couldn't go to the university anyways. So everything started to become online as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cecilia, almost the same questions. We were in KL in February together. We attended events and all this in KL. And frankly speaking, it's my first time learning this word pandemic because throughout my all these years life, 40 plus years life, we know diseases, but I have not heard about something called pandemic before. So when you say that WHO is going to declare it as a pandemic, I was like googling what is pandemic, right? So I think you were a bit concerned. Should you go back to the UK immediately, or you want to delay slightly because I think your trip was about a month, right, in Malaysia. So how does it feel? And when you get back to UK, and because your two kids, one is in completing his A level, and another girl, Jess, is going to be, is still in the university, and your father-in-law is quite old. So how were you feeling and manage this at that time?
To be honest, Gabe, I think when I was in Malaysia at the end of February, I know when I arrived in Malaysia, I already felt quite nervous about this whole thing because of you were watching the news, you see how things are starting to unfold, and I think it was probably the first week of March where I really felt quite, for the first time in many years, I felt quite vulnerable because although I have my family in Malaysia, my immediate family, so my children and my husband, is in the UK. So my thoughts were very much with them, and I think the vulnerability was more because of just the unknown. We didn't know what this is going to be. But as someone who listens very much to my gut, and my gut was telling me this is not going to be very good, and I need to do what I need to do to get home as quickly as I can. And fortunately, I think because of how things were starting to unfold back in Malaysia, and my clients were very supportive and understanding. We knew that whatever take away everything, the most important thing is your family and your safety. So with that in mind, I made the decision to leave and get back to the UK. And I think after I got back, maybe a week after I got back, or less than a week after I got back, Malaysia went into lockdown first. So I think my timing was quite good to get back.
Okay. Yeah. So Sharon, when it announced lockdown, you were in the UK. You still have classes. So how does the university manage that? How do they communicate to you? And then do you feel that you get enough support in managing this? And then because we know that Northumbria University is like a city campus, and how do you manage your life during that period of time? Yeah.
So when lockdown happened and they moved everything online,
Mhm.
um, you see, prior to all of that, the I feel like the only way we communicate to the university is also through online. So the only thing that was really different is just moving the classes online,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and um, and that online class thing, it's a bit, I want to say, unfamiliar.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, we've never gone through that before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but it was okay because for me personally, it's not like we have classes every day. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't feel that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but it's still weird because I don't know, just the feeling of going to uni, going to class, you like that
Mhm.
feeling, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But once
Yeah.
everything is online, you just feel a bit disconnected in a
Yeah.
way.
I was going to say that word.
Yeah, disconnected.
Mhm.
That's
Um,
yeah.
but everything else, they do send like emails to you just to ask how you're doing, and if you have any problems that you want to share with them, they are
Mhm.
open to you telling them like what's going on with you, and I'm pretty sure they'll
Mhm.
find a way to help as well.
Mhm.
Aside from university support, um, the High Commission of Malaysia back in London recently actually sent us Malaysians up here like a care pack. So there was like face
Wow.
mask and hand sanitizers as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Wow.
yeah. So I think from that we can see that they are really trying to help with the Malaysians here
Yeah.
still.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, and just like friend support or any other, if you're in like a society and stuff, they're,
Mhm.
yeah, you can always reach out to them as well. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So
I think
Sharon, do you have some other do you have some other friends who are studying in other universities that do you they are not home? Do you know how do they manage it?
Most of my friends who are in other cities have actually gone back. Yeah. So I don't know anyone who's here at the moment who are from not in
Okay.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Yeah. Cecilia, you wanted to say something just now?
yes, I thought it was really good for Sharon to bring up just a little bit of her experience about online uh, learning. I think that's a really
Mhm.
good thing to talk about because I know just from talking to many parents and students that there is this this question mark around online learning, and I think that's really good, Sharon, for you to share what it actually feels like, and that whole feeling of disconnectedness. I
Mhm.
think my this is what I say to students. I think if you prepare yourself to know that this is what it is going to be like to start with, it helps you if you mentally are ready to face this. I think for many of us, um, when it happened, be it learning online, working remotely from home online, it's been a bit of a new experience, hasn't it, for all of us? So
Yeah.
Mhm.
so it is about just learning a new way of doing
Mhm.
things. So yeah,
Mhm.
thanks for sharing that, Sharon.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
worries.
So, Cecilia, we work with many universities, and I do contact many universities in Malaysia, and most of them say that they are going to resume their classes in September, and of course, uh, many of them say that they want the students to be back on the campus, and then running program like a hybrid mode. Uh, you know, uh, certain part of the program is going to be on campus, and some part they can learn from the hostel or from their room. But then they want them to go back to the university. What do you hear from other universities? Do you know universities you are keeping in contact? And what, for example, a few universities like Loughborough or RGU.
Yeah. So Loughborough is one of my clients, and so is Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. Now, both Loughborough and Robert Gordon, they are ready for students to come back and come and join them on campus, and they are putting measures in place to support students. So I think generally across the board, many of the UK universities are doing everything they can to plan with the view of a bit of online, a bit of face-to-face. So it is a bit of a blended approach. And I think universities are doing, they are working really hard to try and create an experience for the students as closely to what they would have been able to get if this pandemic didn't happen. But obviously, they have to take things into consideration. So, social distancing measures, safety and hygiene measures. So they are trying to put those things in place. I think my message, Gabriel, has been very clear to parents and students. It's so important for you to engage directly with the universities you have in mind about what measures they're taking in terms of delivery of teaching, in terms of the accommodation, and in terms of the social aspects. Because some universities are talking about social bubbles, some universities are talking about creating that within their accommodation as well. Some are taking an approach where they will teach half the class may come in at a certain time, and then another class may come in at another half may come in at another day, alternate days. So different universities, I think, are taking different approaches. But it's so important for the parents and the students to ask those questions. So if you get a message from the university saying we are going to deliver a blended approach, then contact the university and say, could you tell me, for example, how many hours face-to-face will I have? Because some universities might say you have 8 hours of face-to-face. Some may say you have 4 hours. Some may say you have 2 hours. So you need to then consider, okay, if I'm going to have this, and most of the time then I will be doing online. So that may determine what type of accommodation I stay at, where I want to be, So I think it's important to ask and engage.
Yeah. So the next question I want to ask might not be very accurate from Cecilia, because she has been living in the UK for more than 25 years. I want to ask Sharon, because, for example, in Malaysia, when we first announced MCO or so-called lockdown, wow, I have to tell the audience that Sharon lives near to a train. The train passed by her place, so there is some noise sometimes from
I
Sharon's mic.
apologize.
No, it's okay. No, Sharon, because let's say in Malaysia, even when the first 2 weeks of lockdown or MCO, everyone were very nervous. Even I had to go to town, I have to go out for groceries, because Kuching also in this Kuching and Samarahan or Siret area is considered as one of the red zones, the top 3 in Malaysia. So we were very nervous about it, or going out, like it's like fighting for time and getting something. How do you feel that? Do you feel safe from the lockdown even until now? Or would you feel unsafe? I think that's the thing that we maybe we want to know. Assure students and parents, those who want to go to UK. Yeah.
So I'm speaking from personal experience, right? And I feel like it's during this time that I am more grateful that I'm staying in like a very city, student-friendly city, right? So when lockdown happened, obviously, I still had to go out to like buy groceries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think, but because it's a student city, the grocery store is literally just like less than 3 minutes walk from my place.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, so ultimately, yes, I do feel safe here.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot speak for others who are in a
Mm-hmm.
more rural area,
Mm-hmm.
but if I would say that if you are in a city where everything is convenient,
Mm-hmm.
then you should feel safe. You
Yep.
should feel, as long as you take precaution when you go out, then obviously, then yes, I would say that it's quite generally safe to go out, or just don't go out, stay home, guys. But yeah, you know, if you have to go out, I would say, yeah, I felt pretty safe going out. And when lockdown first started happening, when I did have to go out, I didn't see like a lot of people just dilly dallying. So you know that at least people are following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say generally it's quite safe. I felt quite safe at
Yeah, I
least.
think I think because in Malaysia we were restricted to have just one person in one car. You know, when you go out
Mm,
shopping or whatever, you can't eat out and all this. All this make us even more nervous in terms of how we are not only scared about coronavirus or COVID-19, we are also scared that we get caught by police,
mm,
by if we get fined or whatever. I think that is even making us nervous. Yeah.
mm.
So, Cecilia, have you heard about anything, on the border policies, whether students can they go back to the UK now? Because as far as I know, Malaysia is already open for students to fly out, because I think we were restricted that Malaysian can't even go out. Before that, we cannot fly out if you do come back. At the moment, Malaysian students or Malaysians still cannot go out for holidays to other countries. But just last week, I had a student who go back to Norwich. He's on his third year of pharmacy's program. He has got to go back to for his industrial training. The father is my teacher, so he was actually very worried that what would he be facing when he go back, or can he fly it out and all this. So Malaysia has actually opened. Students can have, as long as they have an official student's visa from the country that they are studying, and they have a letter for them to go back because of certain requirement that they have to be back to the UK or certain countries they can fly it out. So what have you heard about that in the UK at the moment?
So for the UK, up till now, all non-essential journeys are not permitted. So it has been quite strict. But from Monday, they will start allowing people to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe from July the 6th, there will be, so UK citizens can go out to certain countries. France
Mm-hmm.
being one of them, for example. I think Spain is another one. And they can travel. And I believe the latest information I heard is that the 14-day quarantine may not be in place. So what I would say is the UK government is doing everything it can to facilitate international students to come back. So I think the situation is very fluid and it changes very often. But in the main, everybody is gearing towards people coming back and either starting studies as planned or resuming studies as planned.
Yeah, great.
I just want
Great.
to touch back, Gabe, if that's
Mm.
okay. The question you
Yep.
asked Sharon around lockdown and the
Mm.
restrictiveness. I think one thing that Sharon mentioned, and just to say a bit more on that, in the UK, we weren't as restricted as you were in Malaysia. So even at the start, we were allowed to go out, for example, for exercise. So we could go out, and and do an exercise for an hour. We could go to the shops to do our grocery shopping, but obviously we only went if we needed to go out. And I think people are in the main following the rules and trying their best to do this. I think it's also really important not to generalize all of the UK as one, because as Sharon said, different parts of the UK is different. So the experience in Newcastle may be very different from the experience in London. In Loughborough, it will be very different from what it is in Loughborough than it is in Manchester. So it is very different based on where you are. So again, I think when students are thinking about where they want to go, these are things to bear in mind about the location. So I think location is very important. And Sharon, you're absolutely right. I think being somewhere too remote, you may feel even more isolated.
Yeah.
So I think, you need to kind of look at the environment in where you're going to be.
Great. So far, we do not receive any questions, so we're going to continue. I'm going to ask you a question as well, because this session itself, I don't plan to do it for more than an hour. At the moment, we are actually 30 minutes, 29 minutes over already. Actually, I only have a few more questions. I want to ask actually Sharon now. Sharon, you are graduating. I know that you have not decided whether you want to continue your master. Would you choose to do it in Northumbria if you would continue? Not sure.
That is currently the main question of my life right now.
Sorry again?
That is actually the main question of my life right now. I'm in a big dilemma about this thing.
Okay.
Because I feel like I have been here since first year. So it's been like, what, 3 years since here. And I've kind of got used to this place. It's very much my second home. But because I am given the opportunity, like I have the financial option to go elsewhere. And a part of me thinks that it's an opportunity that I cannot miss. Although I will very much want to stay in Newcastle. We'll have to see. I honestly cannot answer that question yet.
So, what would you suggest? Let's say students, who has got an offer, they have not been to the UK. I guess for those who have returned to Malaysia on, they are halfway through their first year. I'm sure they feel very comfortable now. They hear from their friends and all this. They might, most of them would want to go back in September. But then actually for new students, do you, I would not say ask you to suggest them to decide, but what would your consideration criteria, what would you get that help them to consider? Should they come to the UK now, or because I have heard someone say that they want to defer, but deferring means that they might be wasting a year in Malaysia not doing anything, and they might not be studying.
I think if I were them, I would think of the bigger picture, right? So let's say they do come to the UK. It is very much most likely that they start online. They'll probably start their course online, which is very different from other students in the past who have started their experience a different way. But if we think about it, it'll only be online for, I want to say, a couple of months or something. I'm not really sure, knock on wood. But I think after that, once they are allowed to go back to classes and stuff on campus, then they'll enjoy it, right? I want to say take the opportunity. Not that I'm saying take the opportunity. I'm just saying you should think about it. I think the opportunity is there. You should take it. And who knows, maybe this whole online class thing can give them some kind of insight, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something like this happens again, then at least they won't be so like me, who was a bit, I felt disconnected. Maybe they'll get used to it, and then they won't feel so disconnected, you know.
Mm.
So I would say go for it, but
Yeah.
if you want to differ, then that's your choice as well, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Cecilia, what
Yeah.
happened to Jess and Nat, right? What happened to two of them? Because one is going to universities, one is in should be returning for the second year.
Yeah. So Jess is going to go back for her third year, actually, Gabe.
Oh,
So
third year.
yeah. So for Jessica, she's really looking forward to going back and completing her final year. She really wants to go back. I think for Nat, and I think this is what I would say to parents and students. You need to have a really good conversation with yourself. So have a good conversation with yourself before you make your decision. You know, when I say this, what I mean by it is, I think in making a decision on whether or not you want to defer or you want to go, you have to take a little bit of a look about yourself and how you are as a person. So you need to be sure that you are able to be flexible, that you are able to face what could be quite an uncertain time. It could be quite a lonely time, but equally, it could be the best, most exciting time. So, as Sharon said, I think moving forward, the world has changed with this pandemic. All of us had to change the way we work and the way we study. So part of working is going to involve maybe working remotely. So coming to university and experiencing a bit of this studying online, being remote, a bit of a blended approach, actually will prepare you for the working world as well. So that's something to think about. If you do decide to defer, then it is really very important to think about what you are going to do in that gap year. So you must have a plan. And that plan could be that you would maybe remain in Malaysia, but you may not be in your home state. You may move to another state. You may do short courses. You might do internships. You might do a bit of working, a bit of research. At least you've got something planned for the next 12 months. So I think, if you are looking at your options, and if you are not sure whether you should defer or not, maybe the first ask is, if I do defer, what am I going to do with my time? And I think this is important for parents, because the last thing you want, no matter how much you love your child, is you don't want your child in your house doing nothing for 12 months. I mean, trust me, I'm a mom. So, but when I had the conversation with Nat, and again, just to share with you, he was very mature in his decision making about whether or not he wanted to go to university in September. So he was very clear. I'm not ready to leave home yet. I want to go to university, but I don't want to leave home yet. Whereas Jessica is ready. She feels ready to leave, and I think that's a really good mature thing for him to have come to a conclusion. And so we have facilitated for him the ability to still go to university, but not necessarily leave home, because as Sharon said, if you are thinking of doing a master's and you've been in a certain place for a few years, maybe it's time to spread your wings and go somewhere else, and that's possibly maybe the mindset that Nat has. So I think my message to students and parents, I think now is a really important time to have that honest conversation, first with yourself and then with each other, about whether or not you want to go to the UK or not. I mean, I've noticed, Gabe, I think somebody has asked, will universities in the UK have face-to-face online classes this coming September? So as I said, there are some who have directly said we are doing as much face-to-face as possible. There are some who are saying we are doing online, and there are some who are saying we're doing blended. So I think it very much depends on which university.
Yeah, I actually have this friend who is studying dentistry. So she's going to go back in September. At first, she thought everything's going to be online, but then they recently told her that, oh, she would still have to go back for clinics.
Yeah.
So that's like a blended thing. Yeah, she would.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's right.
it's not like 100% online confirmed. So
That's right.
Yeah. Just go back to the online learning thing. I'm just thinking about the context of a Malaysian students. What would you think, or do you think that if this purely completely online learning would do they put aside internet speed and all this, would there be a challenge for students to manage online learning other than what Sharon said, disconnected, because you have been learning offline with your classmate altogether and you feel disconnected? But would they feel so would they require more even self-discipline to
Yes.
to learn online, like Sharon, would you and some bosses call for the Zoom meeting and some people could be just turning on Zoom and put a picture there.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Sharon, you want to go first? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would say yes, definitely. You would definitely need more self-discipline because when you're at home, you just think about being lazy or like relaxing. So definitely more self-discipline. But I think it's good because it's good that the uni, let's say for example the library, it's been shut down, right? But there are still many resources that we can access through an online desktop that the university has provided us. So so I don't feel like I lack any resources. All the resources are still there, and if I want to reach out to a lecturer, I can always email them. And the Wi-Fi here is always good. So yeah, where was I going with this? What was the question?
Yeah.
Sharon.
So sure. Other than self-discipline, what other characteristics, the personal character that it needs you to manage your self-learning, like online learning at home?
I think so you have to be more attentive during classes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's different because like you said, you could just be like, I'm lazy, I'm just gonna put a picture of myself here. But so self-discipline, being attentive, try to be more responsible with your work. I felt like because everything is done from home, I've personally actually put in less effort than I would if I did go to uni to do my work.
But yeah.
So that's a lesson that everybody can learn, is to just because you are working from home doesn't make it an excuse for you to slack. And that's something that I did and I regret, I guess I can say. But that's a lesson for other students out there, is that you should just put in 100% effort wherever you are. Although there is a pandemic, I think it can be done. It's difficult, but it can be done. Yeah.
I think for me, it's about the mindset of the if you were doing online in Malaysia and if your university said that you're going to be studying a lot of it online and you decided you're going to do it from Malaysia and then come to the UK, of the benefits is, and I'm just looking at my own children, they seem to come alive, later on in the day, not first thing in the morning. So this actually be working to the advantage in Malaysia because of the time difference. You're probably going to have to wake up and do the classes at 2 p.m. Malaysia time. That's the best time. Your best time is not 9 a.m. Malaysia time. So you can use that to your advantage. I think as well, but if they were to do online when they are in the UK, I think the experience of a second year or a third year student is going to be very different from a first year student, because a first student is not only having to learn online, you will also be finding studying and learning in a UK culture quite different. So this is where I think the support from universities is going to be very strong, because there needs to be quite a lot of support given to students as well.
Okay. I guess there are still a lot of uncertainties, and to answer Michael's question, which you have answered earlier on, where I did a survey with quite numbers of UK universities, and out of and about 30 plus of them replied to my survey, and mostly says that they are going to do a blended mode, or so-called hybrid mode, where they still want students to go to the UK, but then learning, because of the safety of students, and number of people who are getting into campus and all this, so they are actually managing it in the form of mixed mode. Learning online as well as on-campus classes in school itself. So that, but there are certain universities who might want students to go back fully. It depends on how they manage it. But I think the question at the moment all of us are unsure is that, can students return back to UK? I think we are waiting for more definite and defined, definite and clear answers on that one. Is UK ready to welcome all this international back by September? As long as, I guess, there is no second peak coming up, I guess most country wants to open up the border and welcome people to come back to their country. Do you have anything to add on? Because we do not receive any questions. So Sharon and Cecilia, thank you for the session. I think this is actually my first live streaming. Same to Sharon as well as to Cecilia. I think we have managed it quite well in terms of time, in terms of how we overcome our nervous. But do you have any questions that you want to add on? Do you have any comments or ideas you want to add on, Sharon?
Not really. I just think that the questions you asked were quite helpful for students in the future. Yeah.
Cecilia?
For me, just a word of advice to parents and students, especially those who are nervous, unsure what to do come September. You know what? Just don't panic. I think it's really important to talk to each other, to talk to your agents, to talk to people like me and Gabriel, and also to the universities, because that's really important. They are really willing to engage with you, albeit online, but they are there for you to ask questions that you need answers to. I think the other thing to remember for all of us is we have to be as flexible as we can. I think that's really important in this time, because things will change very quickly. So you never know. By this time next week, we might be saying everything, come back, everything's fine in terms of travel. There might be definitely no quarantine. We don't know. Or we might say, actually, we're going back 2 steps, So I think we just need to be prepared to be flexible in the current situation.
Yep. So I have got a question from Natalie. I think none of us can give a definite answer. How will it affect your visa application? At the moment, as far as I know, that news that I have received this week is that most visa application center for UK is opening up because they have been closed as well. But we have not received any clearance on visa application, Natalie. So keep watch of the news. Once VFS in Malaysia is opening up, and then the online submission can open and you can get your CAS, then it should not affect your visa application, right? So I think that should be quite clear. As long as you can get your CAS from the university, CAS confirmation for acceptance of studies, then you can apply for your visa, and visa applications center should be opening very soon if all this can be settled with UKVI's instruction, of course, I think. So latest information or all updates should be on UKVI's website. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also important for parents and students to keep looking at the British Council website, look at Universities UK International website, and also UK CISA, so UK CISA. Their website is also very, very good. These are, the official websites for students to have a look at, to get objective, clear information.
Right. Okay. So we don't have any more questions. So we will, our live should be ending very soon. I just want to encourage all my viewers or people who can help me to help us to share this YouTube video or Facebook out to students and parents who might not receive any notice, who might have missed message, and you feel that it is important for them to know. You can actually share it out and like our page, because this is my first live streaming, and I will be doing more, and hopefully I can do more together with Cecilia as well for different activities and subject matter for students, and for universities as well. So subscribe to this channel, and thank you to Sharon. I hope you can make a clear decision. You have the financial option, as you say. Maybe you want to try out another city, or I personally love Newcastle. Frankly speaking, I flew to Newcastle 2 years ago, and I had 2 nights there, and it's such a comfortable city. It makes me feel like I'm back to Kuching. It's like it's almost the same size. No, it's almost the same size. You feel very comfortable. A place that is a place that you feel comfortable. It's not like London, like you're in KL is traffic, hassle, people. So I think that gives me very comfortable experience as well. So Nina, who is the regional manager for Northumbria University, she has been watching online. So students who have any questions, they can pose it to her as well. So thanks to Sharon, thanks to Cecilia, and for all the students or whoever who see this. And then if you have any questions, the message button in the Facebook page actually will go straight to my WhatsApp, so I can help to answer question as well. All right. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, Sharon. And bye. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.